I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados, and we back for another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're gonna be talking about Solana, baby. Soy sauce, Solana. Okay, it's a joke. It's an inside joke. If you guys don't get it, if you don't get it, it is what it is. But we're gonna be talking about Solana, everything you need to know, talking about the tokenomics, talking about what Solana is, background, funding, collaboration, NFT adoption, tokenomic staking. I probably said that already, and some TA to top it all off. So you don't want to miss it. Stick around to the end to catch all the juicy details. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mo. I do a lot of research. I do TA. I've been in this space for 5 years, and I've done pretty well for myself. And now I am giving back to the community by making these videos for you guys and also documenting this stuff, because you know what? In 5 years, I'm gonna be like, damn, I should have bought more, right? That's usually what ends up happening anyways, right? So moving on, let's talk about Solana here. Solana blockchain surpasses 2.3 billion in all-time NFT sales. Pretty massive, right? And then the ecosystem you can see here is massive as well. Lots of projects being built on the Solana ecosystem and lots of support. Solana's ecosystem has grown exponentially with a total value of $3.8 billion locked at the time of writing this, according to DeFi Llama. The ecosystem varies from DeFi, gaming, NFTs, stablecoins, wallets, and more. The consensus relies on a new, clever mechanism known as proof of history. Due to the structure of the blockchain, developers believe that the network may handle 40,000 to 65,000 transactions per second with ease. Okay? So, moving on to what is Solana. Solana is an open source blockchain that supports smart contracts known for their speed and efficiency. Sol is a token that is native to the cryptocurrency for the Solana blockchain. The Solana network operates under a new mechanism called proof of history. Proof of history is a data structure that provides cryptographic proof in relative order and time of each message and of a historical record. In layman's terms, if you were handed 5 pictures of someone walking, you'd be able to identify which order the picture's going. Well, the same goes for Solana. Because for the time of each block submitted in his historical record, this is how Solana is able to achieve an incredible 400 millisecond block time, making it the fastest blockchain. So it's a pretty cool concept, and you know the transactions and stuff I think like doesn't validate immediately, but because of how the consensus works, it does kind of catch up. Like it creates like some type of backlog, if I'm not mistaken, and it's still able to achieve those high TPSs, but you know, it's still pretty incredible. Solana background. Solana is a project based out of San Francisco and founded by Anatoly Yakovenko in 2017. Solana was built by Solana Labs, an entity in the USA named after Solana Beach in California. Anatoly felt like he felt the solution to the scalability trilemma. However, it is important that while he has covered a potential solution, Solana is still in a mainnet beta. Despite Solana shutting down over a few times the past 12 months, the validator count on the mainnet has been increasing in response. At the time of writing, there's 1,700 validators on the mainnet. The eventual goal that Anatoly has is that Solana will become decentralized, scalable, and cheap to transaction. So, guys, you know, I know there's been a lot of memes about Solana can't even stay up and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it's true. That is a very big problem that the ecosystem has. But in response, people have been stepping up pretty strong, right? By acting as a validator, right? And getting more involved in the network to uphold that blockchain, right? And, you know, we've seen massive amount of growth from a validator perspective. There was a chart, I couldn't pull it up. Like there was no like website for me to pull up the validator count on a graph. All you can see is basically just a number like we see here. But basically, ever since the shutdown started occurring, there was like a double or triple amount of people basically participating in the network, which just shows strength, right? That people do want the Solana ecosystem to grow, and people are definitely more involved into this network, which is pretty cool. So moving on, Solana funding collaboration. Solana has been through a few funding rounds with the following firms: Almeida Research, Block Tower Capital, CMS Holding, Coin Fund, Delphi Digital, Jump Capital, Multicoin Capital, Parify Capital, A16, and more. Powerhouse there. Solana has raised hundreds of millions through their initial coin offering and post-ICO rounds. Solana has had some substantial integration throughout the cryptosphere. Circle, the issuer of USDC, named Solana their primary chain for USDC payments, which is not something to ignore, guys. Remember, like, USDC is making leaps and bounds in this space right now. BlackRock just invested $200 million along with Fidelity. So that is not something to ignore at all. And, you know, because Circle used Solana as a primary chain, it just tells you that, hey, listen, Circle is killing it. And again, Solana being the primary chain is only going to bring more adoption to the Solana blockchain. So there's a reason there to be paying attention. Additionally, DApps like Audius, Brave, and even marketplaces have found the purpose to build on the Solana network. Some DApps have abandoned the Ethereum blockchain due to high gas fees for a cheaper and friendlier experience on the Solana blockchain. Moving on to the tokenomics. Solana tokenomics is a supply of 522 million with a circulating supply of 340 million. 500 million SOL were minted at the release date on the Solana mainnet beta when they went live. The network has an inflationary and deflationary mechanism. So 50% of all SOL is burnt in every transaction. And then there is also an inflation schedule that is approved for Solana to pay out staking. So, you know, they launched, guys, remember, with 500 million tokens, right? And now they're at 522 million. And I'm sure if we check it again right now, there's probably even higher. So unfortunately, it's inflationary, but still had a massive bull run. So I mean, as long as the use case is stronger than the, you know, or actually I should say, as long as the demand outweighs the supply, then it's still going to be fine, right? Because clearly, even though the supply was growing exponentially, right, if you want to say, we still saw a massive bull run for the Solana blockchain. And then moving on, SOL tokens are the Solana native cryptocurrency used to pay network fees, including transaction staking and sending SOL and triggering smart contracts. And the distribution of the Solana tokens are outlined below, which you can see here. Yeah, nothing too crazy, but it's definitely something to look at. There's no vesting schedule. That's one of the most difficult things that, you know, about the SOL blockchain. There's also nothing that can show like top addresses for Solana. So like we don't even know who the whales are that are holding SOL. And I think that's in some ways, like, this is speculation. Take this with a grain of salt. I feel like they're purposely doing that. Okay, they do not want you to see the whales. Okay, that's the truth. And you know, like everyone that I speak to says that there's like some serious whales in Solana. And I feel like, you know, like why isn't there an explorer, right? Like why isn't there an explorer that shows this information, right? And so again, I'm not here to bash Solana. I hold Solana, okay? I've been buying SOL, but at the same time, it does bother me that there's not an explorer that shows addresses with the most amount of like wallets that hold a certain amount of tokens, right? So that's unfortunate. If I'm wrong, feel free to comment and share it. Maybe they've built something that I've missed, right? I'm open to the idea of being wrong, and I would love to see that information because at the end of the day, I like to see the data. So moving on, SOL. Staking. Token holders may contribute to the network by staking. It's a proof of stake consensus. Rewards are about 5% with no minimum requirement. Validators may earn 5.5% and have a no minimum required tokens as well. And unfortunately, the rewards will keep getting slashed to 1.5% over the course of 10 years. And, you know, if you are staking, there is a 5-day lockup period. And right now, when I wrote this article, which was June 7th, this is pretty interesting. 74% of the supply is being staked by 512,000 addresses. That is phenomenal. And that just shows to you that people are bullish on this network. People believe that Solana will come back. And, you know, again, this is according to stakingrewards.com. And with this type of information, it just makes me bullish that the Solana blockchain is going to probably come back sooner or later. And, you know, I'm just going to keep my head up and look at the data right now because, listen, even if, you know, there is some problems, every blockchain is going to have some issues, right? And the biggest one is how Solana blockchain shuts down. I mean, that is, what is that? Like, that must be a meme. But I'm not going to judge. I'm going to look at the situation and say, okay, what's happening? How do they deal with this FUD, right? It's not FUD actually, but, you know, I'm just going to label it as FUD. But how do they deal with this? Do they take it in a bad light? Do they go ahead and try to fix this problem? Do they, you know, what do they do to try to resolve, certain problems they come across. And so that's exactly what I'm watching for. Clearly, the community has responded in a positive manner, and we're seeing growth on the Solana ecosystem. So there's no reason for me to be super bearish yet. Now, of course, it is centralized in some ways because of how it can just shut down so easily, right? That should not even be. How's that even a parameter to happen? But it is what it is, and so I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? To get this pump, right, and get the gains from the lows. That's the truth, right? And so again, I'm not marrying any bias and saying this or that, but what I am saying is that because of the confidence here from people who are staking, the active market participants, the community, and the developers using the Solana network, there's clearly a demand for Sol and the use of the network that will continue pushing adoption for the blockchain and bringing more and more utility. So that is what I mean. And clearly, this is the biggest part of the Solana blockchain that makes me bullish, is the NFT adoption that we've seen in this bull run, right? And not this, obviously. I'm talking about the last bull run, okay? God damn it. I gotta specify everything because people like to say bullshit, all right? Anyways, Solana has passed $2.3 billion in sales volume. And there is the information right there from cryptoslam.com if you don't believe me, or CoinSlam, that's what it's called, whoops. And that is pure insanity, being how young the blockchain is. Additionally, this metric from CoinSlam shows transactions, which is the most impressive. Although Solana is $24 billion less than Ethereum, it's only 4 million less in transaction. This is mainly due to the average cost of Ethereum NFT collections being more expensive than Solana. Additionally, in March, Solana NFTs generated more sales than NFTs on Ethereum during a 24-hour period. Lastly, because Solana is getting so much NFT traction, it's safe to assume that NFTs might become the main source of adoption for the blockchain. Guys, so if you guys don't understand, let me just re-clarify, okay? These TXNs are basically transactions. Now, like if you compare it to Ethereum, obviously it's about 4 million less. And that to me is crazy because like it's 4 million less, but let's just say that it was 5 million, okay? Let's just say that the transaction count was 5 million for Solana. Basically, it has like almost 60% of the usage of Ethereum when it comes to usage, but the dollar count is lower. And again, the only reason that is because Ethereum collections are more expensive. So what this means to me is that as the Ethereum ecosystem grows, as more and more people introduce more and more, projects and stuff like that, whether it's collectibles and whatever the hell it is on the ecosystem, people will use Solana more in some ways, right? And so that is something to watch very closely, and that makes me extremely bullish on the Solana blockchain, especially when it comes to NFTs and especially gaming, because a lot of people are looking at gaming for the Solana blockchain to build on, and we're gonna see where all that heads to because, guys, let's be serious. We know that NFTs have pretty much pushed the adoption of the Solana blockchain, and we know that it's going to continue growing, right? And so I'm just really excited to see what happens, and I'm going to move on. So technical analysis. Solana has had an amazing run from 50 cents to $260, 513% returns. Sheesh. Ever since Sol has hit an all-time highs, we have seen price fall towards a high time frame demand zone, blue box, which should act as a support region. Price is likely to consolidate in the blue box before making a new move. The way that the correction subdivides will give us hints on how the next move will play out. Bottom structures typically take a long time to form in reverse when the bears are exhausted, so it's best to stay patient for a clear pattern. It is possible to sweep to $22 for a capitulation wick. All in all, the price is very bullish over a longer term. So guys, I told you guys that my TA is one of my specialties, and if you guys get full of shit, okay, look at this. I pretty much do this, all right? And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but guys, I'm a pretty small channel, so it might be like I gotta prove myself just a little bit for you guys. Clearly, you see here that I marked the lows, and I said pump it, boys. So what happens? Clearly, we get a bounce off the $83 region. So now I'm gonna take you to this chart over here, okay? We go from $83, right? This is about it goes to 77. Okay, it goes a little bit lower. That's okay. From 77, it rises all the way 86%, boys. And if you look very closely on my Twitter, you can see that I have this area marked, which is about the $150 region. And what happens? What happens? I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I gotta prove myself just a little bit to you guys. We fall into that box, okay? We go into this area, and what happened? Price rejects off the area. And guys, you know, it's like, you know, it's funny because I did sell a little early, but it is what it is. Profit is profit. But, you know, like, I still had this area marked because I thought it was resistance, and I wanted to be safe rather than being sorry. And so right now I am watching this low marked. I marked it on June 4th. And I'm saying this area is a support region at 35. Clearly it has broken that now, and I'm watching for $22. Okay. I do believe that it's possible to come to 22 or even 18, right? It's possible to come down to this low one more time. Okay. And if we do, guys, listen, even if you buy 22, if you buy 31, even again, buying right now, if you believe that the long-term growth of this network is going to go past, you know, the previous all-time high at 260, then realistically you should have some exposure in your portfolio to Sol, rather than just completely discounting it, waiting for a low that might not even happen, and risking some potential gains. And that is obviously not financial advice. None of this is financial advice, because I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing, and I'm just talking in a manner that, you know, might help your strategy, but is not financial advice. The strategies that you guys do, it's completely, you know, on you guys, right? I don't know what your guys' plans is, right? If you guys want a dollar cost average, or if you want to plan long term, or if you're trying to scalp, I don't know what the hell you guys want to do. But what I am showing you guys is the risks to both sides. And personally, I have exposure to Solana, and I do think it's possible that we come to 18, but I'm not banking on it. So that's why I have this marked here, $22. I do think it's possible to go a little bit lower, 18. That's possible. But again, looking at this chart overall, this is a very bullish chart. I do like how it looks. I know the sell-off looks pretty grim, but again, this is a bear market. You want to basically acquire high-quality assets, or, you know, things that you believe have a future at least, right? And so, you know, I'm going to go ahead and punt along on these puppies, right? And takes me to my conclusion here. While I feel like there's much more to share about the Solana network, there's no question that Solana has been growing despite the hiccups it faces, like shutting down 4 times in 6 months. The shutdown periods have decreased each time, and the validators have increased to combat this issue. The community has responded with staking addressing the community has responded with staking addresses hitting highs, and more active participants on the network. I do have a few concerns with Solana, mainly the centralization around the tokenomics. Currently, there's no way to track how much Sol an address holds, which I talked about. This lack of transparency makes me skeptical from a governance aspect and tokenomic standpoint. Lastly, it is important to believe why I believe the network will grow. It isn't correlated to the value of Sol. So it is a double-edged sword, right, of centralization. But guys, I'm gonna this is the name of the game, right? I'm not gonna really tell you guys again what to do. It's completely up to you. But I do believe that I am myself, you know, will probably punt along here, okay? And I've already been stacking, but when I say punt along, I'm just dollar cost averaging, right? I could be completely wrong. This thing could go to 0. It's very, very possible. But the reason why I say it could go to 0 is just to give you guys that idea that that's possible. What are you gonna do if it goes 0? And that's the kind of mentality I just want to plant in your head right now, because, you know, I don't want to be giving you guys hopium off this video, right? And of course, you want to do your own research as well. Validate what I just said, because at the end of the day, this is all research. I mean, I do it myself as well to learn about blockchains, learn about certain things, but you should not listen to one single person. I'm even saying that about myself. And so, yeah, that is that. Please like and sub if you've made it this far. I really appreciate it. It helps this algorithm pump for other people. And, you know, I make this content for people to get more educated, to learn more about these blockchains, and just learn more about crypto. It really also would help me a lot, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And as always, hodl, hodl, hodl. Peace.